Welcome back, Tasties and Taste Stats, to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined this week by a good friend of the show, Rave Day, D33 Ray. Dave, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. And as always, my producer extraordinaire, Dante. How the hell are you?
Lovely.
I was thinking about calling the podcast Three Men in Hats this week.
Oh, I got another one. I was showing Dante earlier. I can swap out too. If we want to make some wardrobe changes.
That'd be cool. I wish we would have all been
Yeah.
included in that decision. I think it'd be cool if we came back second half with
I
an
think
outfit
you would have
change.
signed off on his change. Also, I didn't get the memo. I didn't know I was supposed to wear my hat backwards. I'm out of uniform.
You don't wear hats backwards.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't wear them frontwards.
I think it looks cool today, Dave, with the blue strap matching the hoodie.
Yeah, no,
Appreciate it.
it's
You're flexing
all
on
the
all
details.
those for sure. It's a cool fashion choice. So, if you could really quickly before we get into today's topics, one that we have many of, right? We have tons of topics this week.
So many.
Uh, too many to count, actually. Though, if you could first give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe on the pod this week. We are still chasing that Bucky's deal, so we'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I didn't wear the hat this week.
Yeah, well, we can't give them too much free pub before they sign us up.
Ugh.
We love convenience stores, so if
We like gas
Teskey's
stations too.
or 7-Elevens, mobile, anybody wants to get behind us, we appreciate it. But in order for that to happen, you do have to like, comment, share, and subscribe on the podcast. 3-piece soda.
Yeah, ring that bell.
I'd love that if they
Ding.
would. Put like
All
the
right.
like the Dow. That's the stock market, Dante.
I get that. I just didn't get where it. Never mind. Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah,
No,
ring
it's
the
fine.
bell to start the day.
Yeah.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah, and I think maybe to end it, I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
This week, though, we're talking about something that made no money. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, dropped in the box office this week as the worst Memorial Day releasing performance of all time.
Unfortunately.
Real bummer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a sad weekend for movies.
It just barely beat out Garfield.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it's on it's on like $170 million budget or something crazy.
I think I saw 180, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know really to start. Do we want to start with why we think that happened? Do we want to start with like maybe some first entry level thoughts on the movie itself?
I mean, I have no idea why that happened because wasn't Fury Road successful?
Very.
Yeah.
I thought that didn't quite live up to box office standards either. Like the movie was held in very well regard, but I don't quite know the numbers for that.
Yeah, I guess I should say I know it was critically well liked. They didn't want to like a lot of awards.
So I guess it was a lackluster opening for that too. It opened at 45 mil for their opening weekend.
Do you have a budget on that one?
150.
Okay. I wonder why they put more money into this one.
Well, because that one went on to gross 380, so like it ended up being profitable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the difference now is every movie is dropped to like streaming in like VOD within 30 days of it coming out in the movies, so you don't have that time to try and grow in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to come back next week with another 30 million and then they're going to get another week where they do 20 or something and try to recoup this money. Like I feel like you have maybe 2 weeks. The only thing that's working in their favor is, I don't know if you've looked, there's nothing of note coming out this week. It's one of the few weeks that we have where like there's nothing that's going to really like steal its shine coming out this week.
Yeah.
So maybe you get a decent run in week
It's like,
2.
what's our first big June release? Is it Quiet Place?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, Bad Boys as well.
Oh yeah, Bad Boys is the 7th, right?
Yeah. So you have basically 2 weeks before that to try and get anything going. Um, the other thing I saw that, like, kind of took away from it is some people were complaining that like, it's the first real Mad Max movie to not feature Max at all, right?
I mean, that's why it's a Mad Max saga and not a Mad Max movie, though, right?
Yeah, I understand that, Dante, but I'm saying as far as a reason that people didn't go to see it is because they felt like it had less connectivity in a way, to the originals.
Mm.
I mean, did you feel impacted by that at all? Because I think we discussed like those original movies. I don't think any of us really ever watched those when we were younger, or even more so recently. When I saw Fury Road, it was because, I thought that just on its own looked like a great movie. I didn't need to know anything about Max or anything that had happened in the past. And I mean, I kind of felt the same with Furiosa. It was just, it looks like a great continuation of a movie that I saw 7 years ago and I really liked. I
I
didn't really need
think
to know any of this Mad Max information.
I think it's a weird thing, like, in the Mad Max franchise in general, where, like, that being a reason for people to not see it and a reason people are giving is it's a little odd because, like, the Max movies, he's not really, like, he is the main character in the sense that the movie's named after him. But, like, I watched Mad Max 2, Mad Max 1, the original, this week, and I've
Mm.
watched some of Mad Max 2 now as well. And, like, he's not like, the first movie, he's not in it for, like, the first 35 minutes. It's very much, like, not about him. And he's kind of just like, the whole premise is he's a wanderer in the wasteland. Like, the story's not it's like a mythology story about his character, but, like, him just being a part of the world is more what the story's about. And I
Yeah, the
think that
movie's more
that's
about like the world around him rather than him himself.
yeah, yeah. And, like, even when you watch Fury Road, like, Fury Road is still very much about Charlize Theron and her quest, and he just kind of finds his way into it more than it's about, like, what's Max up to this time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it continued a lot more of like the world building of like the wasteland, like within the story.
Yeah, I think it's tough. Like, the only thing I would say is that, like, there's not a ton of connectivity. Like, as far as doing reboots and remakes, it's one of those ones where it's like, I just don't think that there's any carryover because the original three are, like, unhinged and really fucking weird, but they're very much of their time from, like, a action and a visual standpoint of,
Yeah.
like, the late 70s into the 80s, that I don't think there's a lot of carryover to modern day fans. So when you're trying to aim your large box office totals at a small segment of audience, which is going to be, like, I don't know, like, the ages of 30 to, like, 60 or 70 are going to be the ones that see this movie. Like, I just don't know that there's a drawing audience of people that are in their, you know, 18, 19, like, early 20s that are jumping out to be like, I'm going to go see a Mad Max movie, because I highly doubt that they could sit through Mad Max, the first one, to have any attachment.
Yeah, that's why I mean I really feel like the argument of this movie not having a lot of success because it's not a Mad Max movie, like, or it's not a movie where Max is actually in the movie. I don't really like feel that that's true because the vast majority of moviegoers nowadays aren't going to have any idea of what happened in those first three movies.
To be fair to that point too, like I'm a person that's only seen this and Fury Road. So like I fully enjoyed both of those and I don't think I had to go back to watch the other ones to be honest.
Truly, there's no real connection between, like, I was trying to figure it out, and I was reading stuff about, like, how the timelines connect, and, like, they're like, for nobody has a real concrete answer. Like, it's kind of like they're all on the same timeline, but they're not connected.
What are you
It's, like,
talking about? Like
very
the
weird.
original three to these?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's kind of weird the way it's, like, set up. Like, this is considered like a soft reboot. And, like, when I say mythology, it's like Max the character, like, you're not hearing true stories about Max the character. Like, everything about his character is, like, hearsay. It's like what people have heard, like, stories they've heard about the person Mad Max, who's like the wanderer of the wasteland. And
Yeah.
so, like, it's not definitive whether or not these stories are even necessarily true, like some people say. It's really weird the way the connection is to where they're all within the same universe, but they're not necessarily all the same person, or like they're all the same person, but they're not all necessarily like connected and interwoven.
Mm.
So it's not like because I guess the most connection would be like in like Star Wars is obviously a different plateau, but like Star Wars came out in the same time period and is still just as successful when it comes out today, you know? But there's like clear like intersects in the timelines to where you're drawing from like a newer audience because they've sprinkled across many decades like movies, whereas this it's like you have the stuff from the 70s and 80s and then it didn't get touched again until 2014, right? Or I think that's when Fury Road came out, around there.
15, but yeah.
15. So like there's just not a huge connectivity there. And then when you have stories that you don't necessarily need to connect to the original, I just don't know if you can have this like you don't have this character that like people are like, oh, there's a new Mad Max coming out. I need to go check that out, you know? The thing that's
Yeah.
sad is I think from like a creativity standpoint, you'd like to see movies like this perform better because it's like it's a great action movie, and it's very unique in the universe that they have built. Like I would say one consistency across all 5 movies is they're unhinged. Like it's just like weird action, weird characters, even more so in the 70s and 80s ones. Like it's funny to watch these ones and be like these characters are more normal than the ones that I got in the 70s and 80s.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Dude, the 70 like, watching Mad Max 1 and 2, and it's like, there's not as nearly as much action. The action is like you're kind of, like, going through Mad Max 1 and you're like, "What's the real, like, plot of this movie?" Like,
Mm.
it ends up getting to a point where you're like, "Okay, he's out for revenge," but the revenge plot doesn't really even come up until, like, the last 40 minutes of the movie, because he's just kind of he's a cop in the wasteland, and, like, he one of his friends gets killed, but then he decides I'm hanging up the boots or whatever, and I'm giving it up, and he kind of just goes off and does his own thing. And a biker gang kills his wife and kid, and that's where it kind of sends him off into like I'm gonna go kill the gang who killed my wife.
Mm.
But like you're kind of like, what is the real plot of this movie? And then even in the second one, I'm like what am I watching here? It's just like a lot of weird shit happening one after another with some kills and stuff. And I think that honestly speaks to where the like Fury Road and I think Furiosa are significantly better because of like the connectivity you have, especially now seeing both movies. Like they work together really well, and there's some decent continuity. There is some stuff that's like going back and watching Fury Road now. It's like seeing Furiosa and then seeing it's like where they kind of set them up to be back to back. There are some things where I'm like, well, even like why wouldn't you just make the truck look like the same? You
Yeah.
know, like little minor things like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just I'd like to see movies get rewarded for being creative. It's not like it's an original like one-off movie, but it is still original in the sense that I don't think that you're going to see anything else this year that's quite like it. The vehicles are innovative, the kills are innovative, and also Chris Hemsworth I think puts out like a arguably his best performance.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was really good. Did you get a lot of like Thor from him wearing the cape?
Didn't pull through for me.
No.
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 Um, uh, I was definitely, I think, surprised by his performance. I didn't really know if he was going to be able to kind of pull off the whole like bad guy persona, seeing as like we've never really seen it from him before. Um, but I was definitely, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a much different character than I thought it was going to be. It wasn't so much like he was just kind of running around the wasteland as an asshole. I thought he was very charismatic and like very just chaotic, to the point like he just has this crazy group of people following him and he just wants to kind of loot and pillage.
Yeah, I think the character they built for it definitely fit Chris Hemsworth really well, and like as well as we could say he acted it, I think it's also very like they did a good job building the character for him.
Yeah, I think the Thor tie-in that I think you would get, if anything, is that he was able to establish this like less serious side of himself with Thor over the last few movies that I think people have bought into him as a comedic actor and not necessarily just like a guy who's like all brawn and like action star.
Hmm.
So you get this version of himself in here where it's like kind of a mixture of stuff, right? It is very chaotic, just his character in itself. And like he's intimidating enough because you see his size and everything, but he's not really playing like an intimidating character, right? Like he doesn't handle things on his own. But he does it through like bravado and like kind of like this like he is very much an extrovert and like the energy he puts out, and that's what he gets like people to follow him with. And he's able to posture really well, but then like have this like humorous side that I think also makes him like he's just interesting, I think in a way, and I think the Thor movie's kind of set up for him to be able to take a movie like this and feel more comfortable because you're not seeing him for the first time try to flex like a comedic like side of him. I think if anything, like seeing him in a bad guy role is interesting, and I think he came off like that, but he's more of like a chicken shit bad guy in a way than he is like a authoritative like bad guy.
Yeah, he's just like a figurehead.
Yeah. And I think you get a lot of that like throughout the movie where it's like he's the first person to be on the front line like talking shit, but he's not really the guy who's like taking part in the fighting as much.
Yeah.
Uh I liked him a lot. What do you like that since we've all seen Fury Road and we've seen this, what do we think of the relationship where you've got Furiosa played by two different people? Did you feel like a cohesiveness to the Anya Taylor-Joy version versus Charlize Theron?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Because I mean, you don't really get a ton of backstory from Fury Road, and this kind of fills in a lot of that. So I think it gives you like that progression of like Anya Taylor Joy's character becoming Charlize Theron's character.
Yeah, it is weird. I feel like she's much more reserved in Furiosa as like the character. And then to see this, like how Fury Road is supposed to take place as like an immediate sequel in a way.
Yeah.
Um, she seems a little bit more like outgoing in a way. And I haven't seen all like I just started rewatching Fury Road like today and I didn't finish it. So some of this is just going off of the first like hour or so. But she seems a little bit more like communicative where she doesn't have a lot of dialogue throughout of all of Furiosa. Like she's very much like just like a silent player.
I think that's also just like character growth, right? Is like
But
throughout
I
Furiosa though, like she's still kind of hiding. She's still trying to assimilate.
but
Whereas
Dante, it
like
would be like character growth, but movie is supposed to be back to back. So it's not like she had a year to grow. Like you're literally going from the end of Furiosa into the beginning of Fury Road. Like
Fury
they're
Road.
all like right back to back. So like I
Is
don't
that
think you
right?
would we let's jump into spoilers. So I would highly recommend going to see this. I think we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Okay. Three, two, one, spoiler. I would say it has to be back to back because the end of this movie is the end of Furiosa is her going and taking
The War Rig.
the war rigs and the wives.
Oh
I
yeah, 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 you're
I
right.
think I just took that as like, all right, everything you just saw leads to this. I didn't take it as like this is happening right now in this movie that we're watching as well. I just took it as like,
There's no
oh
way it
hey,
couldn't though.
No, I think what he's saying does make sense because nothing in either movie implies that she took the wives multiple times.
Like she couldn't have. She would have gotten killed if she took
no
the
no no
wives
Yeah.
more than
no.
once.
I think it was just because it was kind of during the credit scene. Like it was more so like, hey, like everything you just watched, like this is what this ties into. There
I
was
mean,
no
another
like,
important
boom,
thing
this
to
is happening
know
right away.
another important thing to know is that the entire like screenplay, script, and all that for Fury Road was completed before the or I'm sorry, for Furiosa was completed before they ever filmed anything for Fury Road.
Well, Fury Road was being worked on in like 2004 as a sequel, including Mel Gibson, and it just
Yeah.
never got made, and it got pushed back. But no, I don't think that was in the because they were only in that one post credit scene, and it has nothing to do with. That was during the movie itself, the core of the movie,
Yeah,
that she goes and takes the wives. She returns back to what's it, the Citadel? Is that what they call it, right?
Citadel. Yeah,
She returns back to the Citadel and immediately goes and takes the wives. So, like, to me, it seems like you're taking the wives, you go to the war rig, and then it's go.
yeah.
Now,
Because
see,
then
I
Fury
don't.
Road starts with her like setting out and then realizing she took the
And
wives.
I
she immediately stage lefts. Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
I don't really follow or buy that because I feel like Fury Road starts off with her as like the main imperator or whatever she's called, as like the main driver, and it feels like she had that role on her own for quite some time
Well,
to
so this is where
build a
I
lot of trust.
this is where I think there's like a little bit of connectivity issue to me, because I do see them as going back to back, and then all of a sudden I thought it was weird watching Fury Road, where she has all these men that are working on the rig that are just blindly following her, and it's like she hasn't been in control of this rig.
Yeah, I feel like there's like 10 years, 10 to 15, maybe even more years in between the
No
two
way.
movies. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
I think it's a continuity issue, but I think it is supposed to be immediately after.
Yeah, like like this is leading from one to the other, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if like that's something you can look up when you look up like timeline explained, if somebody wants to try and pull that.
See what I can
To
find.
like, cuz maybe there is information out there, but to me they were meant to be, this is explaining the backstory of Furiosa, and then you're leading right into Fury Road. Cuz even like Immortal Joe, like I feel like the only thing that leads me to believe that there is a little bit of a gap, to give you credit here, Dave, or to like side with you a little bit, is that they've already established that there's new leaders of Gastown and Bullet Farm,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, because those are
Um,
built back up again.
but that comes back to continuity to me, where like Fury Road came out so far before this that like that's more of a continuity issue to me than it is. And either way, I think they did a poor job of setting this up. Then, like this is the problem with doing a sequel, like a prequel like this, and doing it in this order, is that like then you needed to make these things more clear. Because to me, like if
Yeah,
she's going to take, like they never said like sometime later, they're doing all these chapters right throughout the movie. There was never
yeah,
like a chapter 6 or 7 or whatever that was like 5 years later she takes the girls. Like there was nothing like that.
Yeah, from what I'm reading, there's not much time. It's not made clear how much time really passes
yeah.
between. But I do have like in my mind, like it's like minimum like 10 years between.
Then why show that in the movie? Because she like it makes sense. And aren't they the same girls that she was in there with that she goes and takes? Granted, they're not the same girls that you see in Furiosa, or yeah, not Fury Road. Sorry.
Well, they just showed you clips of Fury Road. That was Charlize Theron at the end of the movie.
Yeah, but they show Anya Taylor Joy going to take the girls.
Do
Mm.
they?
Dante, I'm right on that, right?
I'm sorry, I missed that. What I was
They
reading.
they they show Anya Taylor Joy's version of Furiosa go to take the girls,
Yeah,
and she
because she's
brings them
loading them
out.
in under the rig.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then they show you Fury Road in the post credits. Like that's the stuff that's in the post credits to tie the movies together. But
Yeah,
she is the one who goes in the movie. She returns to the Citadel, and I'm pretty sure she immediately goes to get the girls and take them back,
yeah,
because she's planning to leave, and she wants to go to her home, and she's going to take the girls to bring them there. And they talk about that in Fury Road, like we're going to the green place.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you also like there's no way like she hasn't built up a connection with these girls yet then.
Does I don't think she needs a connection with those girls, because
How do they
she
know
will.
about the green place?
She was with them.
Why would
Well,
they trust
she
going with her?
they just want to get the fuck out. They've been raped for however long and used to just birth deformed babies. So I don't think they give a fuck. They did know her because she went in there as a child and
Yeah.
spent a day with a couple days with them, right? So they already have some idea who she is. And I think they're willing to listen to anybody. And it doesn't take that long to be like, I'm bringing you to here. Like I'm
Yeah.
bringing you a safe place. A place that's like a oasis. It's green, it's got water, it's got life, like all this stuff.
I think that makes the most sense. It was immediately after.
I think
Obviously, there's some continuity aspects to it that kind of throw it off, but I think that was the original intent.
yeah, to me, that's just how I perceived it, at least. And like, I think it just makes it a little weird watching them back to back. Like, I think there's enough cohesiveness. I think it's interesting watching Fury Road, and you have the guy that's given away by Chris Hemsworth with Furiosa, who's like
Yeah.
the body guy, right, or whatever he like.
It's like the organic scientist, I think they
Yeah,
called him
like
or something
he's
like that.
in Fury
Yeah, he
Road.
was in Fury Road.
Like I think that's interesting. You've the guy who took over Bullet Farm, which is the guy with the little thing over his nose.
The nipples.
He had a
No,
nipple on his nose.
you're thinking of the other guy from the Citadel in the suit that has like the nipple
Yeah.
chains and the gas mask on his dick.
This guy
I don't
didn't.
know.
This guy was wearing a full suit with like the little thing covering his nose.
Yeah. Yeah, he has, and his suit, he has holes around his nipples where he has chains, and he's rubbing them the entire movie.
Yeah, just chilling, stroking his nips.
Am I talking about the same guy? How did I miss
Yes.
that?
No, you're
Yeah,
not, because
no,
that's not
he
the guy that
is.
runs the bullet farm.
He is, and he has like a gold like thing like completely over his nose. Yeah, same guy.
Hmm. I missed the nipple part. I never miss nipples. I'm always I'm always looking for nipple anywhere I can in a movie.
Even man nipple?
Sure. Everybody's got nipples, Dante,
Oh god.
and you can milk
Nope. No.
them.
Moving on.
There is one other character from Fury Road that I think it's weird that it's not in or I don't remember it in Furiosa, and it's the other son, the small son.
Oh yeah, the one
So
in the wheelchair, right?
Yeah, that what like looks through the telescope.
no, well, yeah, there's that one, but Scrotus also isn't in Fury Road.
Correct.
Which one's Scrotus?
Uh,
So there's the
the
beefy, he's the smaller one.
the other brother, like that was like always like, yeah, the smaller one.
I thought I had seen him in it. Huh.
No,
I know the big guy is.
No. In Fury Road you have Rectus, but not Scrotus.
and
Weird names, by the way.
Yeah.
great
Rectum and
names, though.
scrotum.
I've
Yeah.
dude, I was laughing the entire time throughout the movie. I don't know if you guys do you guys watch SNL at all?
A little
No.
bit. Like I catch more clips these days, like for like whatever the popular stuff is from the week.
Did you ever see the Beavis and Butthead sketch?
Yes, the one that with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. All I could think of was that guy Scrotus was just basically Butthead.
Yes,
Dude, the entire movie I'm laughing any scene that he came on.
I
All I
know
could just see
exactly
was
what
that
it was.
Butthead face. Um,
And
but
him
dude,
and Hemsworth both have like the bad prosthetic noses.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a bad one. You know, did you I don't know if you ever realized too, the actor who played Scrotus was the same actor who played Nicholas Holtz, like Secondhand Man in Fury Road. He was the other guy in the car that he was trying to fight with at the beginning to take his wheel, and then ended up like backing him up. It was the same actor. He played, his name was Slit in Fury Road, but I don't know if they ever say his name.
Like the war boy that ended
Yeah,
up joining them.
yeah.
That's the same dude.
The war boy that joined them was Nicholas Holt, but his like secondhand man on his car, like when he was driving, trying to chase them
Yeah.
down, is the
When
same
Gotcha.
Max
actor
is
that
on the
plays
front of
Scroto.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
I didn't notice that, no.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Which is what, like, I ended up finding that out when I was like trying to figure out if Scrotus was in Fury Road, and it was just like, nope, Scrotus isn't, but the same actor is.
Interesting.
Well, they also meant like and I noticed this during the movie, but I didn't see anybody really talk about Elsa Gonzalez or whatever, Chris Hemsworth's wife in real life. She has two different roles in Furiosa. So she's at the
Didn't
beginning
catch
of the
that.
movie when they're in the green place. She's the one who goes with Furiosa's mom
Oh,
to,
like halfway.
yeah, gets halfway
Mm,
and then goes back. She's
okay.
also when the biker gang, when when they have the guy tied up, like when they have to do the musical chairs with the bikes, and there's the one with like the fucked up lip.
Oh,
The
same girl.
girl, it's the same person.
Oh,
I noticed it when we were watching it, and I thought there was going to be something that came from it because I was like, maybe she gets caught and she never can go back to the green place or whatever, and she ends up like, and they're gonna like maybe have some tie-in, but it's the same. It's her in both roles, I'm pretty sure. Um, and it's just not. It's not said that it's like this. They're not the same character.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I guess they did enough with like prosthetic work because she's like missing her. She has like a cleft lip on the top almost.
Mm,
So it does like, but it's definitely her in both roles.
mm,
One part I didn't like, and I think like Dave, you kind of said something during the movie or like gestured during the movie, is like Furios is kind of a fucking idiot at the beginning of this movie, and I get that she's a kid, but like she gets away, and her mom's very clear on like, do not come back, like just keep going and get away, and she gets like 3 feet and is like,
yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
Yep.
yeah.
Like I didn't. That's the only part in the whole movie where I was like, I get it for the storyline purposes, but like it just makes her like, and I get she's a kid too, but like this is fucking stupid.
Yeah. And it was like the message was very clear. Like, uh, probably
I'm
not
gonna
going to make
die.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to take a bunch of people down, but like, you need to leave.
like
Get
you're
away.
wasting my sacrifice by coming back.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the only part. Like, basically, that's the only thing I can think of in the movie where I was kind of like other than being a storyline device, like this doesn't make your main character look like. And again, I get it. It's she's a kid and like that's her mom or whatever, but it just didn't like work for me.
Yeah.
The thing I enjoyed the most, and I think you enjoy, I might have enjoyed it more in Furiosa than Fury Road. Granted, I've like it. There's some really cool shit in Fury Road too, like the guitar playing, like fucking truck and stuff like that. But the
Yeah.
vehicles that they have in Furiosa, where it's just like first it's like the cars driving, and then the people go up with like the parachutes, and then when the parachutes don't work, next thing you know, they have like flying like vehicles that
Yeah.
go up above it, like all of that stuff. Like I liked a lot of I liked a lot of the unique like vehicles that they make work, and I think that that's where the action for this movie stands out versus a lot of the other stuff that you're gonna get, like especially this year, is like the creativity that they can have with like the vehicles in this.
Yeah.
How do you like Dante? You're a big driving guy. How do you like this? How does this hit for you?
I mean, like you said, like there was a lot of really like unique like vehicles that they built in this like post-apocalyptic world that are all very interesting. Um, but like also just the action sequences too, like when they're like jumping from vehicle to vehicle and they're like fighting it out and shit. Like all that stuff was really fucking good.
There's definitely more action in Fury Road than there is in this. That would be my only thing. I wish there was maybe a little bit more in this one from an action perspective.
I was happy with the amount of action I got.
I'm not saying it was like I was unhappy with it, but the movie's like 2 hours and 25 minutes long.
Something like that, yeah.
And how many real action sequences do you get? Like two or three? Like
No,
true,
there's a
like
few.
I I I feel like there's two big ones, but obviously, yeah, Fury Road from not necessarily start to finish, but like maybe 15 to 20 minutes in, you start on the war rig and moving that plot line forward. And pretty much that entire movie is the war rig moving from point A to point B and all the fights that ensue with this.
yeah.
With Furiosa, there's like 45 minutes of setup time, and then that's when you kind of get your first like war rig push fight with all the different flying vehicles and whatnot, and then there's more downtime, and then you get the decent fight at Bullet Town.
Yeah,
Um,
those are the two that stand out to me, are the War Rig and the Bullet Town fights.
No.
And I can't really think of much more than that are like, because even like when like she goes and like builds her arm and all of that stuff, like it's there's not really an action sequence there. She just goes and takes the car and immediately chases down Chris Hemsworth, you know? Like there's like scenes of tension, but there's not like large scale action sequences to
Yeah, I
it.
I
think
guess I
they
could
they
see
were
what you're
saying that was
saying,
like a
but
40-day war. So like it was just kind of cutscenes in and out of just Dementus's army like kind of dying, and then Morton Joe's army kind of dying, and then like obviously like then there was like she just kind of shows up with her arm. She's like, "Cool, I'm taking this car," and then she's gone to do her thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think maybe it's just comparing it to Fury Road, where Fury Road is just literally like balls to the wall, basically the whole movie. Um, this one is definitely a lot more like character development driven, which is also weird. Like, do you think this movie works better as a trilogy that they had of released that is like goes in order, where it's like Furiosa, Fury Road, and then maybe you get like a third movie?
yeah, maybe.
I think so, but as much as I did like both movies, I think part of its lack of success is the fact that it took Fury Road and decided to go backwards.
Yeah, that's a good point as far as underperformance. Like, and do you think now? Because I think now the issue is, are you going to get it to go forward? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not able to make up the money, then generally, like money talks. Like they probably wouldn't be able to make a third movie after this.
well, and especially like you talked about this with me, Dave. Like, if there's if people don't want to return to it either, right? Like, if none of your actors that you've used want to return to it, does that make it even harder? Because now it's even harder to explain the connectivity to where I think you're almost waiting another 10 years to get like a Mad Max that's a new Mad Max,
Yeah,
Mm.
change it
you
up.
know?
Like,
Yeah, doing a whole new actor again. Because it is a character that you can basically just drop into this world and do whatever you want with it. So they've set it up well in that regard that you can just make whatever story you want around the Mad Max character. And like to be fair, like he has the like iconic like vehicle that he drives around in, right? Like that you don't get in these movies to where like I think like people would like seeing him play more of that marauder like in the car driving through the wasteland as opposed to like the war vehicle aspect of it. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that it's going to make it difficult to come back to that now if this is underperforming again, you know?
Which
yeah,
sucks because they're both really good movies.
Yeah.
I think back when I think it was right around the time Fury Road came out, they released that Mad Max video game in like 2015,
Yeah.
and like I think that kind of hit on what you're saying. It was a lot of just like Mad Max, you got the vehicle, and it was a lot of kind of repetitive gameplay, but like you're just driving around the wasteland causing havoc, like blowing up like settlements for like war boys and other just like wastelanders and raiders and stuff like that. And the game itself was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know if you're gonna like yeah, you gotta figure out how to tie that like Max back into the movie, I guess, with the car.
Is Mel Gibson still acting?
Yes.
Mm.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
What
Ever
if we
since,
That's the
his
IMDb
drunken
said.
rampage.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely took a fall off in Hollywood after that. But like what if we had him return?
Come back out of nowhere.
I mean, there was a lot of anti-Semitic comments out of him and his camp, so I don't know if that's something that's going to happen.
Yeah, but I think he said he wasn't a racist, Dave.
Oh, then it's all good.
He is in the John Wick spinoff, The Continental.
Oh yeah, there you go. Dude, like
But yeah, he's still acting, I guess.
um one other connectivity thing. She gets a shotgun in this, right?
In Furiosa.
Yeah. He gives her like the double barrel, like hand pistol almost.
Oh yeah. Because I
Oh,
remember him giving her like the brass knuckle pistol. Is that what you're talking about?
I remember that.
Does he give her a
No,
shotgun after that?
I think he gives her, because remember when she's
Who's he?
at Bullet Town, she has the gun. That's the gun that he gives her, that like double barrel pistol, I think, that she's like shooting them with as they like come up to the fence.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the same gun that she has in Fury Road.
Yeah. I don't know, anything else on this? I mean, like, I again definitely recommend. I thought it lived up.
Yeah, so I very much enjoyed the movie, but I also had, like, we haven't touched on a couple of these yet, but I feel like there was a lot of plot holes and things
Okay.
that kind of just, like, after the movie kind of just left me questioning something, like how it could possibly work or not. Um so when she's traded from Dementus to Immortan Joe and she basically gets locked up.
Yeah.
Um you see obviously Erectus like plays with her hair,
Hmm.
and his brother Scrotus sees this happen. The very next night or the same night or however it is in the storyline, she gets pulled out of this locked room
Hmm.
and disappears. There's no mention of like how did she
What?
go missing, who let her out, who helped her escape. Um and I feel like they played it off like Scrotus sees Erectus do this, but then says nothing about it because I feel like he would have put two and two together. Because then he obviously sees him like running around at night. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Hmm.
And like she's hiding under the pipe right underneath him. Um, which then like obviously like she cuts her hair so that she can blend in with the boys or whatever. And then fast forward to her being on the truck and she has long hair again. And I'm just like, is she still trying to pretend to be a boy? Why does she have hair that's like 4 feet long?
Well, I think I do agree, and this is another one of those things where along the same lines as her as a child, like it's a convenient storytelling like piece that like they don't like they just like use to progress the story, but it doesn't necessarily like when you look at it from like a critical eye, you're like it's too convenient in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as the hair growth, it's one of those things where she's now like kind of protected in the role that she's in, to where, and she's old enough to where they're not putting the connection between her being that same character, because they like, I mean, yeah, because there's a lot of time between that, so they're probably, and they're
With
kind of stupid. So like,
with the hair thing,
Yeah.
there was something I did see on like the IMDb trivia thing where Anya Taylor Joy wanted to cut her hair to be more like resembling Charlize Theron's character, but for a large part of the filming, she was stuck under a modeling contract where she couldn't. So I feel like the whole having the hair grow back out was more so just to make that make sense because she had to have her hair.
All right.
they CGI'd a mustache on the uh,
Henry Cavill.
Never Gamble. So
Um, so like kind of going back to my other point. So she disappears from this vault, right? And then like whatever it is, I think like 15 years or something like that goes by or something close to it because they it's 15 years from when her mother dies to basically this whole story plays out. So I don't know, between 10 to 15 years from her disappearing to being a mechanic and on the war rig. The entire plot of Fury Road was Immortan Joe having obsession over his concubine wives and basically emptying out his entire cavalry to go find them. Yet this girl goes into his vault and then disappears, and there's not a fucking single word said about it.
yeah, well, like at the beginning of Fury Road, he figures it out kind of quickly, right? Like the
But
second
he's
he
talking about
sees.
like when she gets taken in as a kid and
Yeah,
disappears.
Okay, yeah, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah,
like the entire motivation of Immortan Joe and Fury Road was like I am so protective and I want my women. But then like
is it because she couldn't bear a child yet, so it didn't like matter to him as much?
I
No,
don't know.
because he was definitely like he really wanted her there because he saw she was like fully healthy and like could bear a healthy son for him.
Yep.
I mean, I guess the part like, and it comes down to like them just not showing you this stuff. Like, was there a cover up made by the Sons? Again, they're idiots. I don't know that they could be capable of it, but
No,
Yeah, I don't think so. But I think it's just one of those things that just the plot demands it, so it moves forward.
yeah, like, and I don't know, like those things. Like, I try not to be overly critical because I think every single movie basically has like those things to where like for the plot to progress the way they want it to, you kind of just have to have it happen like that. And who knows? There could be a director's cut that's fucking 3 hours long that
that explains
has
all that. Yeah,
has more, and that's just stuff that
True.
they thought like bloated the story too much, and they trimmed it down trying to explain those types of things.
Yeah,
Um,
because it was already 2.5 hours. So
yeah, like
maybe.
because I definitely think that there's a world where there is like a digital release that's a director's cut version that's longer than what we got. Um, because it just seems like the type of movie that would have it. But yeah, when you if you're paying a lot of attention to that, I think that will kind of take you out of the some of the story. Yeah, like because it leaves you with a lot of questions.
yeah, you're
Um.
kind of killing this movie for me. I didn't notice all these plot holes.
Well,
I just enjoyed it.
I
Well,
decided to pay
like
attention to this one.
but that's the thing, right? Like, and that's where I think that it's like how you want to view it, because like again, I think you could lose enjoyment for a lot of movies if you just like with things like that, right? And I think that that's why you get more movies nowadays that are 3 hours long, is because like they want to be able to
Explain all the
have
shit.
every part pretty well explained. And I think the more you have to trim down, and I don't really think I would have wanted a 3 hour version of this in the movies. I think that it would have hurt it more than it would have helped it.
But
But I do think that that's where you end up with some of these gaps, because I don't know how they explain this. Like, I mean, would you be okay if they just had a scene where it's like he realizes that she's missing, can't find her, and then they just kind of give up on it?
I mean, yeah, that's gonna be kind of tough to shoehorn that
Like, because I
into
think
this
that's the
current
only
version
way
of the movie.
you, yeah, that's the only way you kind of explain it. That's where I was kind of like, I think the way you do it is you just don't have her end up going to Joe, right? Like you have her stay with Dementis and get away.
And then just hide herself in the crew or somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think that that's probably the way you would have worked around that a little bit better. We didn't talk about him either, but what do you think of? I don't remember his name, but the guy on the that was running the war rig.
Praetorian Jack.
Yeah, like this movie's Mad Max, basically.
He was kind of just there, a little bit boring, but I don't know.
I like the progression of his character. Honestly, like I think he went from like side character to main character kind of vibes. Not necessarily main character, but like I think he found somewhere where he felt he fit in more, and he found his calling. And I think cool.
I thought it was interesting that like he was clearly well trusted by like all the parts of
The
the
Citadel.
like, well, the Citadel, like the gas place, the bullet place, like they like everywhere, like because they needed him, right? Like and how quickly Hemsworth's character is, it just flips on him and is just like, I don't give a fuck, we're gonna kill this guy, basically. When they go to Bullet Town,
Mm.
like because I thought that there was like at least like an established like level to where like he wouldn't have done that, and they just get rid of him real easy, and like they basically walk him like a dog essentially to fucking kill him, and she grows attached to him, but very quickly like just gets the fuck out of there, and maybe that's her learning from being when she was a kid and she ran back for her mother. It's like, no, like you gotta get up and go here.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it was very clear that like he was already dead in front of her and just being dragged along.
Hmm. Were the dogs? just chasing him, or were the dogs actually able to like eat at him while he was getting pulled? I couldn't tell.
I
It
mean, that
looked like
was
they were just chasing.
yeah. And I think that was just for like a quick clip, and then as time went on, I didn't see the dogs towards the end.
True.
But I mean, so like that whole scene kind of brought me to like another like I feel like plot hole of disbelief in her ability to get out of that situation was I don't know, that was kind of not believable.
You know what wasn't believable about it? She with one arm rides up that mountain successfully, and all the guys
Everybody
behind her
else, yep.
couldn't do it.
So that was the one plot hole for me that I did notice is on a motorcycle, the clutch is on the left hand. And she only had the right hand, so she technically could only hit the front brake. So I don't actually know how she was driving.
They could have reversed that on these bikes, Dante. Like these are probably built from scratch, dude.
Okay, but still, pushing up a mountain, you need to kind of stabilize the
Well,
handlebar with both hands, and
that's
like,
where my gripe would come from. Not so much the clutch versus the handbrake. It was more so like, especially when you show me the fact that the guys with two arms that ride these bikes all the time couldn't get up the mountain, but she literally didn't struggle at all. Like she goes
yeah,
right up this thing with one arm.
She was determined.
yeah,
Yeah.
She was able to, cut off her arm and dismantle or like trap the Chris Hemsworth's truck, and she was able to steal a bike and escape through an entire circle of raiders and get away. So
Dave, I feel like you hated this movie.
why couldn't she drive up a mountain?
Yeah, that was definitely one of those like, all right, we got to have a way for her to escape. Like
Yeah.
So
movie
so
magic.
the only thing that I'll say that I kind of picked up on that might somewhat explain this a little bit is so obviously like a decent amount of time goes by throughout that scene because you see Chris Hemsworth kind of sitting
Mhm.
just like either meditating or just focusing or kind of drifting off, and obviously the sunset goes down and it gets like much darker as he kind of comes to and jumps off of the rig and kind of tells everybody like, hey, like knock it off, we're done. And he turns the corner. um Whatever his like number 2 or number 3 guy that strung her up originally,
Mhm.
do you remember like he was stringing her up with her strong arm at first, and Chris Hemsworth's character was just like, what are you going soft on me, and like took her broken arm and put her broken arm up there.
So cut off
As,
the
Yeah.
yeah.
So as Chris Hemsworth's character comes down towards the end of the scene, you see that same guy is standing at the back, and as like Chris Hemsworth's character Dementis walks around, this guy is sheathing his machete. So I feel like he might have helped kind of cut her down potentially. Nothing really indicates that that's what happens, but it can be something that might explain the gap in her being able to do this.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, and like I was thinking like the strapping it up like cut off the blood flow for it, like to because she would have bled out if you just chop off her fucking arm, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that
I
shit,
mean,
like, it already got pretty grossly infected. Like that scene when she's in the ground with like the cannibal chick, and there's just like maggots all over it. Like it would have gotten pretty grotesque pretty quickly.
Mm.
She needed to like burn that thing. All right. Well, Dante, let's go through ranking real quick.
Yeah.
can I interject with one more thing that
You
didn't
got
make
one
sense
more.
for me, please?
Let's see if
Yeah.
this knocks Dante's ranking down again.
Dude, I'm already
Um,
thinking about knocking it down.
how does a walnut seed stay good for 15 years and you can plant that shit after it's just been in your hair and you're sucking on it every now and then?
Well, I think the sucking on it was what was keeping it alive. That's what would keep me
I,
alive.
I, that's another. I
Was it a
ended up look.
walnut seed? I thought it was a pit from the peach.
Yeah, it was a peach.
Was it a peach?
Yeah.
Does that change?
But I
Maybe,
still
maybe.
think I think your premise is the same,
Do
Dave.
seeds die? Now he's fact checking me. Damn.
No, I'm pretty sure
Well,
you're right. It's a peach
no,
because that's what she
you're
takes off
no,
the
you're
tree.
right. I think you're right. And I didn't know what kind of seed it was. I thought maybe it was a chestnut or a walnut. Definitely isn't a chestnut. Properly dried pits can be stored in a sealed container in the fridge for up to 6 months.
So it
Yep.
doesn't say anything about them lasting 16
That
years.
shit's not going to last 15,
Does it
16
mention
years.
what happens if you suck on them? Because she kept wetting it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe that did it. Saliva.
yeah, yeah.
And you just didn't really need it. Like, she just uses it as a torture mechanism.
Yeah, to grow a tree through Dementis's dick.
Yeah. He said to make it epic. So,
Oh man.
there you go.
So I think that's it. That's it for all my holes.
Yeah,
You
so
filled them?
Dave, how much did you hate this movie?
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I have it
Oh.
at 4. I had it at 4 stars.
Out of 10?
No, out of 5.
Oh.
And that's a scale, obviously based on like the other things that are on my list for the year. I thought it is still better than nearly everything else that's come out this year.
Yeah.
No, I think Dante may have it overranked.
Yeah, no, I do have to drop it. So I have it currently at number 1 at 4.5 stars.
Yeah. I knew you had it.
And
I saw you had it at number 1. And I thought that was I was like a little surprised by that because like in my mind, Dune 2 is like significantly superior
and so
still to
like
this
even
one.
in my notes I put like probably gonna have to change this. I think it was just a prisoner of the moment thing. Like literally right after walking out of it, I was like, fuck, I love that. And I was sitting there toying back and forth in my head about like this versus like Dune 2 because I knew it would be up there. And ultimately what my deciding factor was I think I enjoyed this a little more than I did Dune 2. But at the end of the day, I think Dune 2 is a better movie.
Yeah, I think to me like I don't know, I really enjoyed Dune 2 watching it just in general, but I like they're both great movies. I think Dune 2 is far more like a more perfect movie overall. Like hits on basically every level you can need it to hit on. So that's still at number 1 for me. I still
Well,
I
yeah, I mean, Dave took any hope of perfection this movie had out of it, so thanks.
um
Sorry.
I have Furiosa at number 3.
Okay,
I still have Kingdom in front of it as well.
okay,
So I got Dune, Kingdom, and then Furiosa. I knocked Civil War down a peg.
gotcha.
I'd put this
Oh,
above Civil War.
yeah, yeah. I think it is above it. Cool. Well, people, let us know if you've seen it. Probably didn't based on the box office, but if you did, let us know. Let us know what you think. If you're gonna go see it, if you're waiting for it to come out to digital, whatever it might be. But let's get going on to the next little set of topics we do have. At first, though, you could like, comment, share, subscribe. We are looking to get a convenience store sponsor. We'd greatly appreciate that. So to be
Oh, man.
honest, we don't have news this week. Like there's nothing all that interesting, right? Um so I well actually I do have one really quick one. Do you guys like Knives Out, the franchise?
Really enjoyed the
That's like
first
Glass
movie.
Onion and Knives Out, right?
Yeah.
Glass Onion was okay.
Yeah, no, the first one's significantly better. I did like Glass Onion though. You say they started casting the third one?
Nope.
Oh no.
So the rumored cast for the third one right now, you've got Josh O'Connor from Challengers.
No idea
Um,
what that is. Didn't see the movie, so.
Who did he play in that?
the like not good tennis player. Well, not the
The
one that's
husband.
no, the other one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the
My
one who's
guy.
not like I say not good in terms of he's like he hasn't won the championships and all that stuff.
Yeah, 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 okay,
Um,
I got you.
uh, Kaylee Spaney, who is the young girl from Civil War, the photographer.
Okay.
Okay.
Tom Hardy
Perfect.
Okay.
and Lindsay Lohan.
Huh.
Okay.
She's trying to make a comeback. I've told you guys this. I've told
Okay.
Dante this.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
I like that.
the 3 people that or 4 people that they've got announced right now. Obviously those movies are generally ensemble cast, so you're gonna get more, but that's the start.
I'm not overly impressed with, I guess, that group of characters. Not knowing anything about the story, I don't know. I do think the collection of characters that they had in the second movie was nah. See, I don't think it was better than the first movie because I think everybody in the first movie
The
worked
first
very, very
movie
well.
the first movie had way more A-list like hitters in it.
I don't know. Kate Hudson, Edward Norton, Dave Bautista. Um,
The Girl from Outer Banks.
yep. Jeanette Monáe.
Yeah. So I guess they both did because like you had Evans, Anna De Armas,
Jamie Lee
Jamie Lee
Curtis.
Curtis. There was other ones too, but yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
guess both of them have pretty big ones. This one seems like it's more like your maybe a little bit more up and coming.
yeah, don't know much about the Civil War girl other than Civil War.
She's really good in that though.
Yeah, she was.
So like I'm interested to see her get more roles because I was pretty impressed by her in Civil War. I also think like Tom Hardy plays really well into this kind of atmosphere. Like I think he'll
Yeah,
be really good in it.
I think he could do whatever you want in that story.
And I think if they
Yeah.
cast Lindsay Lohan to play like kind of that stuck up rich girl like kind of role, I could see that working as well. You know, and Daniel Craig is still Daniel Craig, and he
I mean,
kind
yeah,
of
he's
he
gonna hit no matter
crushes.
what. Yeah.
Yeah, he crushes in this role. So I'm excited for it. I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing because Glass Onion released in movie theaters and Netflix, I think like a week apart, right?
Hmm.
Was the way that they did that. So I'm
Yeah.
interested to see if this gets just a cinema release or if it goes split between the both. Somebody's going to pay for it to drop on streaming.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, Knives Out wasn't like that. It was just Glass Onion, right? I think
Yeah,
Knives Out was in theaters for a while, and
theaters.
then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember seeing Knives Out as like an early release and being like blown away. I love these types of movies, like the Who Done It mystery movies. Like I think they're generally one of my preferred types of movies. And I think Knives Out is like just really well written and super clever. So I like it keeps you kind of guessing the whole time through, and you want to see him kind of figure out who it is, and like when it all comes together at the end, it's always pretty cool.
the first one kind of kept me at the edge of my seat trying to figure it out for like pretty much right up until the end. Like I
Hmm.
kind of hadn't put some of those pieces together. Glass Onion, I kind of had a good idea of what had happened and what was going on
Well, do you think like
throughout.
Edward Norton's always a dead giveaway?
Kinda, and yeah, and it's like the motivations of his character was pretty much just like there from the beginning.
Like I think I always perceive Edward Norton to play like some type of a bad guy.
Yeah, kind of just did the whole backstabbing thing like in the Italian Job as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He just has that like I mean, if you like watch Rounders even, like there's a bunch of movies that he just kind of is that like snarky, like shitty guy.
snake in the grass.
Yeah. I think that's how he is in real life, to be honest, too. You like
A
follow
lot
him
of
enough.
reports, I think, say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um so my next segment, this isn't news. This is a new segment I'm dropping on you guys.
Oh no,
It's it's right or wrong.
this is already wrong.
I came across I came across something on Facebook and I was just like we have nothing to talk about. So this person was like I was in a McDonald's drive-through this morning and the lady behind me honked at me and flipped me off because I was taking too long to order. It's like so I paid for her food and I moved up and she leaned out of the window looking all crazy at me because I told the teller because the teller told her I paid for her food and she felt embarrassed. When I got to the second window to get my food, I showed the receipt for both and I took her food too. I paid for it, it's mine, and now she has to wait even longer. She's gonna learn today.
Fuck yeah.
Is this
Oh.
is this right or is this wrong?
That's a W. That's right.
Oh, it's right.
I don't know, dude. I thought there was a good message here where it's like do
Be the
on
bigger person.
do unto others as you want done to yourself. Like be the bigger person. You know, karma, like things like that. Like maybe you change
Yeah.
this person's perspective by doing the nice thing.
See, the whole like do unto others as you want done unto yourself. I just wouldn't be in that situation. I wouldn't be the asshole honking at somebody in the drive-through.
That's fair.
So there's no karma waiting for me on that end.
All right. So you guys both agree with this person.
Yeah.
Would you do this?
No.
I don't think I would have had the idea, but now, considering it,
Would you guys
I
do
want to go start
the
some shit in a McDonald's drive-through now.
would you guys do the pay it forward thing? Like, you know, people pay like tolls or like for a coffee order.
55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 shakes. No, nothing. Reference over you guys. Tim
Yeah.
Robbins. I think
no.
you should
Way
leave.
over my head.
No.
Yeah.
No. Missed it.
Yeah.
I've heard great things
He-
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he goes into a drive-through and he pays for the guy behind him, thinking that, you know, hopefully like, hey, this is going to start a chain where each person then pays for the person behind them. So what he does is like he orders like a small drink or something like that for himself, pays for the guy behind him, and then immediately whips it back around so that he can get right behind him. So then the guy he just paid for says, hey, I'll pay for the guy behind me. And he goes up the drive-through. He's like, 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 shakes. He just lists off $1,000 worth of food.
Sick.
Yeah, I think I'd immediately say no to that. But yeah, would you guys do like the normal, like somebody's coffee and a sandwich or something like that? Are you gonna pay it forward on that? Or if somebody's like, I'll pay for the guy's
I mean,
toll
I have
behind
done
me?
it.
You have done it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I've
Absolutely
never done
not.
You've never been at like a Dunks or like a fast food place or even like a convenience store and you see somebody that has like just a couple things on the counter and they're like struggling to find the money in their wallet and it's just like, dude, I got you.
God damn, that's tough.
Well, so that's different. I would say two things. That is different.
That is 100% different from like just blindly.
That's not
paying it
blindly.
forward, but-
Yeah, like that's different. Also, I've offered and I've had people be like, "No, I'm all set."
Nah.
Like, and they just get it. Like, but I've definitely like offered to do that. But it's more the blindly doing it. I think that is paying it forward. Like the other way, you're kind of doing that for convenience for yourself, to be honest. Like you didn't want to wait in that.
That's
line.
real selfish of you, Dante.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think I've done it for people that were after me though. I don't know. Now I'm forgetting all the for instances. I'm trying to feel like a good person. Fuck you.
Yeah, like I don't think like because the whole premise is like you're in the drive-through, you have no like the person's not even gonna know. Like on top of the fact
Yeah.
you're kind of doing it for validation because they're right there.
Am I doing it for validation though?
Because like the toll thing, you pay for somebody's toll behind you, it's like they're never gonna see you unless they like speed up and give you like the wave.
Yeah, you're not getting any good any extra good place points on that one, Dante.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know. Okay. Well, so you guys both think that was all right.
I'll work on my karma savings account. Come back with some good ones.
Are you guys ready for the next segment?
Right or wrong?
No, I don't have another right or wrong.
Oh, damn.
My next segment is I just went to the Today I Learned thread on Reddit.
Okay.
All right.
What'd you learn?
Tom Hanks is a distant 16th cousin to Abraham Lincoln.
I could see it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Both
today-
very stoic men.
Yeah. He also did a documentary about him in 2011. Okay. Today I learned that the most venomous snake in the world is not a sea snake. Do you guys know where it's from?
It's not I wouldn't even have guessed that it was a sea snake.
Me neither.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Throwing me off.
But where do you think it's from?
The land.
But like which land?
It's from the sky.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking Australia.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
It's an inland taipan, and it's from Australia. You're right. Yeah, you got that.
Damn. Right or wrong?
Today I learned that in 2021, a 4-year-old giant panda escaped from a Belgian zoo in its enclosure, and it attacked its keeper in the restricted area.
Huh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Today I learned that The Goonies and Back to the Future took place on the same day.
What do you mean?
November 15th, 1985.
There you go, Dante. That's what I meant. That's a fun fact, is it not?
I don't think I
So
ever
much fun.
put those together.
I've never watched The Goonies.
God damn it.
I
God
just clearly upset somebody.
damn it.
You've never seen The Goonies?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah, really. I know what it is, but I've never watched it.
Truffle
That's
Shuffle?
fucking shame.
I do know what that is because I've seen like clips and shit, but again, never watched it.
Booty traps?
Don't know that.
No booty traps?
Dude, you should watch it. Add it to the
One
list.
of Spielberg's best movies.
Great cast. Will Feldman,
Yeah.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't see you adding it to your list.
No, because I didn't. I just don't know if I have much desire to.
It's a great movie.
Yes.
Today I learned that Red Bull energy drinks contain different amounts of caffeine, taurine, and B vitamins depending on the country they're sold in.
That I do.
I imagine that's like a legality thing.
Yeah.
What else am I learning today?
This one's too long to read. Sorry.
Are you literally just scrolling the subreddit right now?
I had some stocked and ready to go. But, you know.
I didn't realize we were doing this live.
Live and in color.
Today I learned that Bill Walton and his brother Bruce are the only brothers to have played in the Super Bowl and the NBA Finals. Dave? Oh, this is interesting, Dante, based on what we talked about last week. Today I learned that EA makes $420 million a year off of The Sims 4.
That makes sense.
A year?
A year.
Are there microtransactions to that game?
I have to imagine there are, yeah.
Oh.
It's EA, yeah.
Makes sense, yeah. This is why they thought they could make a movie, okay.
I mean, that's why they'll make a movie. If people are spending that much money a year, people are going to go check that out, right?
I mean, that LA Chargers schedule drop was a big hit too.
I didn't even see that.
No?
I don't watch any of those.
Dude, the Chargers have been putting out absolute gems of schedule drop videos that now every single team has been doing them. They had a bunch of cool like anime ones, and then they decided to do one with made by The Sims this year. It was good. They basically just shit on the teams that they're playing.
Huh.
Yeah, did they lock any of them in a pool?
Yes.
They had.
Did they actually?
Yes.
Sick.
All right, well, I have two more, guys. Today I learned that Madonna turned down a role in The Matrix. It's one of the biggest regrets of her career.
Damn, all that plastic surgery isn't up there.
Yeah, that would have been terrible if she did The Matrix, right? I've only seen one Madonna movie. Maybe the girl opposite
Trinity.
Keanu. Yeah, Trinity.
God,
I only remember her doing one movie, and it's like the one when she's trapped on an island with like. There's two different movies that I'm getting confused in my head, but they're both about people getting trapped on an island. One's with Anne Heche and one's with Madonna, and I feel like they both might have Richard Gere in it.
I know she did a League of Their Own.
Oh yeah, she did. She did. Dante's never seen that because he's not pro women's sports.
That's not why I haven't seen it, but no, I have not seen it.
Dante, are you pro or against, women's suffrage?
Against? What the fuck?
You're against women's suffrage?
I would not like them to suffer. Yeah, I'm against it. Am I wrong?
So what we're saying here is you are anti-suffrage.
I feel like I'm getting set up.
Oh, I'm gonna clip this.
Yeah, you
Oh,
know
It's a bad look.
what?
somebody explain to me where I went wrong here.
Today I learned, dude.
What am I saying about myself?
Quite a lot.
That's like very funny, dude. Today I
Mm.
learned Dante's not pro women's suffrage. Dave, I want
I
you to
still
know
don't
I'm an
think I'm fully
ally.
understanding.
I'm an ally in pro women's suffrage.
As am I.
Yeah. Last thing. Today I learned that the Great Wall of China extends into the sea.
Yeah, much
Okay.
like the Great Wall in the north of Winterfell. It was
Goes right
Eastwatch by
down
the
into the
sea.
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
You big Game of Thrones guy, Dave?
You know what? I'd say I was, and then I got kind of angered there towards the end. I would like to continue reading the books if
He's never gonna
they ever
make it.
get written, but
He's never gonna make it, dude.
oh no, he will not.
How was I supposed to know women's suffrage is about the right to vote?
I don't know, dog. Go to school,
Yeah.
maybe.
Read a book. Shit.
Fucking setup, bro.
You fucked up big time, Dante.
Yeah, no, like I'm so pro women's suffrage. They should vote it up.
Brother,
Just flip flopping.
the clip's already made.
Nah. There's this part, the redemption
No,
part.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now, dude. The clip has been made. That's good. That's grand. You don't think he's ever going to come out with those books, right?
No, and he's pretty much already said that if when he eventually passes, if they're not finished, that he is not given the license to anybody else is allowed to finish them.
Who the fuck starts something like that and then doesn't finish it?
Yeah, I mean, the dude clearly I think he wrote himself into an absolute bind of like which characters are in certain areas and who he killed off prior, where he now wants to like use them to further his story along. And then I think the show itself just absolutely derailed everything that he had thought he had wanted to do, and like the fan reaction was awful for the
But
last.
whose fault is that?
Oh, it's 100% his. And like he's taken on all of these additional extra projects, and you like the House of Dragons or whatever it's called, like he's a co-writer on that, and it's just he's taking away all of his time to just finish A Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring, or I think it's called.
And it's those are just because he can start fresh on a story instead of actually try to complete like what he did before, right?
Yeah,
It's fucked up.
I just don't think he has any idea where he wants to go with the stories, and I
But
just don't think he'll ever finish them.
I thought when you wrote like things like this, like you have like a storyboard, right? And you've kind of like got these things plotted out, and then you just need to kind of like write the in betweens of it. Like, what was the point in like just blindly killing characters for the sake of shock value, essentially at that point, right? Like, um, and it makes the books great, and the show is great because of things like the Red Wedding and all of that. But like, if you were gonna need those people, what's the point in fucking killing them? And I guess it goes to speak to why like like the continuity issues that the show has in the later seasons of like I don't like as a person who watched the shows all in like a week, like I watched the whole Game of Thrones in like a week in the lead up to the finale. Um I don't have the same gripes that most people have, but the biggest like thing that was off-putting to me watching it that quickly is being like it used to take entire seasons for things to like for a person to get from like point A to point B, or it could take like 2 seasons for them to get across like an ocean or some shit. In the last season, it was just like they could be here and then all of a sudden in somewhere completely different in the next
Dog,
episode.
they teleported all up and down the fucking kingdom in between, like even in the same episode. Like
Yeah. And that's like him not completing his story, right? Because they had no way to explain how they were getting all these places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that was the showrunners too, just kind of like they had free liberty to kind of just do their own things as long as they hit like main key points given to them, I think. And they're like, all right, we'll just fill it how we want to fill it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that show is gonna go down as like it's funny, like that pops up in my TikTok algorithm a lot recently, has been like scenes of Game of Thrones. And it makes me kind of want to watch it again because there is obviously like a lot of really enjoyable stuff in that show. I think it's a little bit of a drag to get through the first season and a half or so. But like I think overall, like the battle sequences and like the backstabbing and stuff all makes it really worthwhile. But it's just I can't see myself. I don't think people go back and watch it, right? Like
No, so I mean, I do think plenty of people do. Um, I was a big fan where leading up to every single season, I would rewatch everything that had happened before it. So, I'd watch every season leading up into season 4, and then I'd watch the whole show again leading into season 5, and so on and so on. Um, as soon as I finished the last episode, I pretty much made a vow to myself. I was like, I'm never going to watch this again. I thought they absolutely destroyed the show and any desire for me to kind of go back and revisit the story, knowing where it's going to end.
have you watched House of Dragon?
So I was pretty starkly against watching it. I really didn't care or didn't want to, but I ended up. I think I want to say it's like 10 episodes. I watched the first 8 episodes on uh, a flight to and from Ireland.
Hmm.
So like 5-6 hour flight both ways. So, but I watched 8 episodes, came home. I've had absolutely no desire to finish the last 2 episodes. Like it did nothing for me. It
It
just kind
doesn't
of killed.
recapture any of like
No,
the no.
no, it just killed time for me on the plane, and I was just like, I don't need to go back to it.
Kind of a bummer that it doesn't recapture like any of the original feeling. Hmm.
I mean, for many it does, but I'm holding on to my anger.
What how was the plane itself when you went to Ireland? Is it like is it an international flight? Was it bigger seats? Like what are we talking here?
Uh, General sized cabin.
Yeah.
No.
You know what? That's probably still great compared to what Lenny's expecting because he thinks Spirit Airlines has first class.
Dante, we did this already and we both agreed. I don't know why we're going back. I did see something today, Spirit Airlines, they had to they took off on a flight from Jamaica to Florida today and they had to turn around because they had like a some type of an emergency and they were telling people to prepare for a water landing.
Damn, was that on
Sick.
your Today I Learned?
No, that
Post
was
thing? No?
I was passing by as the news was on the TV.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of news, do you want to kind of go over any theater issues that we might have around?
um okay, let's do this. Does anybody have it?
Do you have it?
Dave?
Do you have it? Taste.
Okay. Yeah, taste. Taste.
Okay. I think I'm tasting what you're putting down there.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. You have it. Sounds like you have it. Okay. I was gonna act like I didn't see this so then I could drop it on Dante at the end, but I'll just do it. I actually went to the cinema. I went to where the action took place.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Like boots on the ground.
Yeah, I was doing some investigating. So for anybody who doesn't know, the movie theater that we generally go to in Braintree, um, I don't just put it bluntly, I guess, like had a stabbing take place, a multi-stabbing, a
Yeah.
stabathon.
Yeah.
I get the whole frame of this podcast, but maybe let's not joke about the situation.
Well, no, that's just like that's what they do that in Scream. It's when they watch all the stab movies.
Gotcha.
There's more details that I've learned about this that are very disturbing too, by the way. Like, so first of all, the age range is disturbing.
Very.
Yeah.
Like these girls are between the ages of 9 and 17 that get stabbed by a random guy who just rushes into a movie theater, goes into a one of the theater rooms and just stabs 4 girls. I found this out yesterday. Like, there was no parents present, and like these were the only 4 girls in the theater, and they were dropped off by their parents to go see If. That's like
That's
fucking
fucking awful.
traumatizing, right? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, imagine being the parents, right? Like, you get a phone, like you drop your kids off, you think you're just dropping them off, like you're trusting the 17-year-old, I assume, to like
To be like the
adult and like
caregiver, I guess.
yeah, like and like you're just going to see a movie, it'll be a couple hours, like what's the worst that can happen? And never in a million years would you consider this could be the thing that happens. And like, how did this guy of all the theaters, like I wish that there was a way to know like more of the psyche on the other side. And this guy's clearly crazy because he not only goes into the theater in Braintree, he goes to Plymouth
McDonald's.
to a McDonald's and stabs a couple, and then he gets caught in Cape Cod, right?
Yeah, like they like flipped his car or something. But I thought I also saw something where it was like he also was like wanted for like a murder in Connecticut.
Yeah, so I heard it started in Connecticut and it came up here, so that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but like, what made him go to this? Like, did he just choose a random showing? He just ran because he just ran into the first one he could get into.
I mean, yeah. I think he just walked in, just did his thing, and he was took off. It's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fully get it.
And they said that like
It's
the
like
17-year-old chased him off. That's what I had heard. She got stabbed,
yeah.
but she chased him off, and that's when he ran away. Which I don't know what she did to chase him off, but like, yeah, like you'll never go. Like, those kids are gonna be fucked forever. Like a 9-year-old getting stabbed. I don't know how you live a normal life after that. Like,
Yeah.
I went to a place by myself when I was 9 with my I guess it was like 2 different families too. It wasn't all the same family. It was like 2 siblings and another 2 siblings or something like that, and the parents dropped them off
Yeah.
there to go together.
Yeah.
And you're just seeing like a kids movie, like it's probably like one of the few times they've been out by themselves without parents present. Like, you're gonna have helicopter parents for the rest of your life too. Like, and I don't blame them. Like, I would like I don't like I the parents are gonna like sit in the back of like concerts and dances and everything for the rest of their life, just like being like, I can't not watch you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's also just not something you would expect to happen in that area at that theater, you know what I mean? But it's a random act of
Well,
violence.
yeah, of all places to stop. Like, I don't know if this guy's just driving up 95 and goes to 93 and then
Sees the
just
movie theater and is like, yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna stop
like of
there.
all the
Like
places, like he could have gone to the mall across the street. Like, he could
or
have
even like pulling up to the movie theater. Like you could stop at the Fridays before that. Like
could have gone to Five Guys, found 5 dudes. Don't laugh, Dante.
you set that up.
I mean, it's definitely an out of the way location.
It's so
Yeah.
weird, dude. It's such a weird one. Like, because it's not like it, you don't have to
I
be
think the
too.
problem is we're trying to introduce a logic into a situation that clearly
Yeah,
wasn't acted
Yeah.
on with
no,
logic.
you're 100% right. I think it's just like you envision these types of things to happen, especially at a place like that, as more of a premeditated thing.
Yeah.
And it, it's not funny, but like it's just like weird. I talked about Strangers on here last week, right? And the whole premise, the very beginning of the movie Strangers, talks about there's X amount of random acts of violence in the United States, like per year, and it's like shit like this, like no premeditation, no motive. Like these people had done nothing to him, and he just goes into a random theater and is so fucked that he attacks children.
Yeah.
You know, and like fortunately, none of these people have lost their lives, right? Like they're all able
Yeah.
to like go on living, and like they're gonna get therapy, and hopefully they're able to find some like semblance of a normal life. But it is I don't know, we talk about this on here a lot, like where we sit in those theaters, it's like it's just kind of adds credence to why I'm always looking over my shoulder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Gonna
went
have to go strapped to the movies now.
and I went there yesterday. I went there last night, 9:40.
They
Um
bump up security.
they have a security guard there. Yeah. They have
Mm.
this one guy from like Ace Security who I pretty sure I watched hit on a group of four women who were leaving the theater.
Solid.
They seemed kind of into it. It was like older white women. Good for
Solid.
them. Yeah.
They
Um,
just like the flattery. They weren't into it.
and I was trying to figure out, like, do you think this guy's carrying a gun?
I mean, you're the one that saw him, was he?
Yeah,
I
you couldn't see it.
I didn't get it. I wasn't really like scoping out his side to try and see a piece.
Hmm. You're curious enough about it now. I thought you would have,
No, like
scoped it
because
out
then when
there.
I left the movie, like he was just sitting in a chair,
Hmm.
like by the doorway, kind of just hanging
You
out.
you didn't just hit him with a "you strapped, bro."
No,
On the way out.
I avoided him
No.
because when I saw him talking, you know what it was when I walked in and saw him talking to the random women, I was like, I don't want to talk to this guy. And I thought if I made eye contact or walked too close, he would try to talk to me. So I avoided it.
Fair enough.
But I was interested to see if they had added like any type of thing. I'll tell you this, like the people working there, normal last day.
Yeah,
Like
I can imagine.
the guy at the counter could have given two fucks that I was there.
I mean, you also got to imagine that maybe the people that were working there yesterday weren't the people that were there when the shit went down.
Still, you're like, you have like intimate details as to what happened,
Yeah,
you know, and that could happen to anybody, and like like lightning striking twice in the same place. I think it's like a highly unlikely thing. So maybe there's some like piece to that where they're like, it's not going to happen again. But like,
yeah,
you know exactly. You've heard from the people working there what that day looked like. You know,
yeah.
uh, I went and saw the Garfield movie.
I figured that's what you went to see because it's the only thing left that I haven't seen.
There's one other movie that I don't really like care that much about, but I might see it. I don't know. But yeah, I saw Garfield. Um, it's pretty good actually. Like I spent the first 20 minutes or so being like, this could probably just be a TV show. Didn't need to be a
Yeah,
movie. Uh, really good cast though. Chris Pratt. You have Samuel L. Jackson, um, Vin Raines.
I was gonna go watch it yesterday, but the next showing when I was leaving work was gonna be like 2.5 hours later, and I wasn't gonna do that.
Yeah, I hit the 9:40.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at, but I was like, I'm not going back out after I get home.
Mhm.
So
Um,
are you guys feeling all these Chris Pratt animated voice line movies?
so what's weird is I it doesn't even come off as him, really. Mario, you had like, there was so much more like hype around the fact that he was doing Mario, and like I feel like maybe people made a bigger deal about it. I didn't even notice it with this one. Um,
Mm.
I noticed Samuel L. Jackson far more as a character, like because his voice just stands out
Yeah,
significantly more. Like that one was way more present to me, and like Ving Rhames has a very like obvious voice too. But like the Chris Pratt one, like I could barely even notice it was him, to be honest. And they like it's a clever little movie. It's like a heist movie to a point.
mm.
Because it's Garfield meets is it Steve? What's his John? His owner's
John.
name,
John.
John.
Yeah,
He gets like he finds him, he thinks he's been abandoned as a little baby, goes and finds John. John takes him in, and then you flash forward years later. And Garfield and Odie get kidnapped and taken in by this like Cheshire cat. It had Cheshire Cat vibes at least, but yeah, it's like an evil cat who you find out was in a gang with Garfield's dad, who he hasn't seen since he was a child, who is played by Samuel L. Jackson. And
Samuel L. Jackson is Garfield's dad.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
and they were in a gang that used to do heists of milk from
Oh God.
farms and stuff like that. And she got busted and sent to the pound for 4 years because of Samuel L. Jackson. And now she's trying to get him back, and it's like, you have to steal me 1 quart of milk for every day I spent in the pound. And they have to go to this like farm to steal the milk, and it's like a heavily secured farm that they have to break into.
So basically, they just took like a gang revenge movie and said, "How do we make this PG?"
Yeah.
And then said, "Yeah, fuck it, we'll make it a Garfield movie."
Garfield. That's some serious world building and backstory for a fucking
For Garfield
comic
movie.
strip. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, that's where I was like, the first 20 minutes, I was like, okay, like it's all about him just eating and stuff like that. I'm like, this could literally just be like a TV show on fucking Disney or Netflix or like whatever that they throw out for like 6 episodes, and it's probably fine. But like once they kind of got into the plot a little bit, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was not bad. Um, so yeah, I gave it. I actually gave it 3 stars. And it's kind of a toss up for me because I dropped it in front of if for right now, but and I think it'll probably stay there. So I have it at 14.
okay.
Yeah. Dante, you want to tell us about Back to Black, dude?
God, that god awful fucking movie.
Was it? Don't say that.
Dante,
It really was.
I thought about going to see it today just so I could do the
Yeah.
thing where I get you to do the whole review and then I could drop on you that I saw it. But there wasn't a showing until 4:15. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you do go see it, you're gonna hate it.
oh, I knew I would. It was gonna
Why?
be a bit. I was doing it for the bit. I wasn't doing it for the movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see I'm crushing Dave's soul right now.
Well, dude, I've wanted to go see it because, I'm a fan
Well, the
of
best way I can
her and her
explain it,
music.
right? So that's the same reason I wanted to go see it, right? But I don't also really know anything about her aside from like she died from an overdose. But the best way I could explain it is this movie seems to have been made by somebody that hates Amy Winehouse. Because it's just negative about her the whole way through, and there's not really any high points.
Damn. I mean, like, there was a documentary movie,
Yeah, it was just
probably
called
like,
Amy in
yeah,
2015. Because I
yeah,
remember seeing that in a review, and I wanted to go see that, but then I realized it was a documentary, and I was kind of hesitant on it.
yeah. I would have to assume basically it just kind of depicts her life in the same way, but then this is just an acted version of that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like it is. Where it's what were they negative in the Amy documentary on her life?
I
Did they put her
mean,
in a good light?
not really. I mean, like
No.
it wasn't necessarily like a bad light, but like it was clear that like she kind of just alienated everybody around her to basically just be with like the the her boyfriend or fiance or whoever he is, that basically getting high and drunk all the time.
Mm. And that's basically what this movie was. It's just, I guess, like, they didn't make the characters likable in any way, so it kind of removes you from the movie, I guess. And like, if they're gonna draw them in a bad light, then give me some intrigue to it other than she's just a shitty person.
Yeah, I think you said it. Like it basically just like used each song to like formulate the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, because like the soundtrack throughout is like they're just playing some of her songs, and every time you would go through like I guess an act in the movie, then they would play a song, and as you're listening to the lyrics of the song, it's just like I don't even know if they actually knew anything about her or they were just drawing the whole act from what she said in the song.
I mean, I don't have any key examples right now, like off the top of my head, but most of her music was basically drawn from her experiences. So
Which
Yeah, and I
generally
mean,
the case, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you'd think that like a biopic's supposed to shed light on stuff you don't know, I think in a way too. And
and it really just shed light on the negative and like highlighted it.
yeah, like you didn't feel bad for her at any point.
They don't really give you the opportunity to with the way they framed up the movie. Like basically for the majority of the movie, they're just like, oh, she's a horrible person and she does a lot of bad shit. And you never really feel for her. You never are like, oh, this is why she got to this point. Or oh, I get it. Like they don't give you any of that. It's just like, okay, she's just selfish and an addict and fucking psychotically in love with this dude that it's just using her.
Did they try to get her to go to rehab?
Yes.
Did she
You
say
just want to know. She said no, no,
yeah, did
no.
she say no, no, no?
In the movie, she admits herself into rehab.
Well, okay. Then they didn't pay enough attention to her music.
Yeah,
Uh,
reading one of these comments on this, it's an open question about how much of the real Amy Winehouse is to be found in a movie that is obsessed more with her flaws and dependency on alcohol and drugs than about her craft and prowess as a singer-songwriter.
yeah.
That sucks.
Did you read like Letterbox or anything for it, Dante?
Oh, Letterboxd destroys this movie.
Yeah.
It's basically more of what Dave just read.
Should we start? We should add a segment where we just read Letterbox
Read
reviews
Letterboxd reviews.
about movies. Yeah.
I actually wanted to find one in here where somebody loved it, and I couldn't find one.
I mean, it looks like it has a good audience score. It's just destroyed by critics.
The first review for Garfield on Letterboxd is a 1-star review, and it says, "I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you eat."
Oh man. I mean, some of these letterbox reviews are hilarious for shit like that. Like I can't even remember what movie it was I was trying to find reviews for, and they basically just um quoted the whole Nicole Kidman intro for AMC.
Yeah.
I was like sick.
One of my buddies has a shirt with just like her face on it, and it just says, "This is my movie shirt."
I think we finally got away from it, haven't we?
No.
No,
I feel like they're playing like different
No,
things at the
she
beginning now.
extended. Like that's not going away anytime soon.
I swear I've been seeing different things recently. Maybe I'm just numb to like her. I think I generally pull my phone out at that point.
Uh
yeah, she was there last week.
Yeah.
Saw
Okay.
Furiosa.
I had to scroll pretty far, but I did find one good review on Letterboxd.
Okay, hit us with it.
Great soundtrack.
Shit, I just scrolled away from it because I didn't think you were gonna ask me to read it.
Well, I thought the segment was we read Letterbox reviews.
A sobering reminder that you can hit rock bottom even when you're on top of the world. A well acted and by most accounts accurate biopic. Not sure why it's being dissed and dismissed.
That person sounds like they know what they're talking about. They know a little bit about the Winehouse.
Yeah,
Her
I
name kind of
guess.
set her up for failure, huh?
Yeah,
She was destined to be an alcoholic.
and I think that was her actual name too.
Okay. Dave, do you have anything for the taste test?
No, I don't think I have much of anything. Oh, I ended up watching a couple other movies that you guys probably would have seen from your 2024 list over the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Oh yeah, what'd you watch?
And just watch Beekeeper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was actually really, really good. I mean, it was just like a cool action movie, so it was just
With the
Great.
funniest, most relatable premise of all time. Telemarketers suck. They steal from old people. We should kill them all.
Yeah.
shoot, what was the other?
Oh, you didn't go fishing for plot holes in that one, huh?
There can't
No,
be
I
any.
watched that on a plane ride down to Florida.
So you're saying you didn't pay much attention?
Nah, I mean I did, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you just want to destroy Furiosa for me. That's cool.
Uh, dude, it is what it is. Plus, I mean, it was just I just came from like watching Fury Road before I watched that movie, so like the entire story was just in my head and fresh.
Mm.
Um, I did also watch Madam Web.
Ooh,
Which, yeah, great,
Sorry
good
for that.
good things to say.
great movie. No, God, no, movie was awful.
It was a good laugh.
I don't think I laughed at any point. I mean,
Toxic dude.
the toxic dude was just maybe I guess like
No,
the
no.
Yeah,
voice
I'm
lines
sorry.
in that shit were funny.
He's talking about the rendition of Britney Spears' "Toxic."
Oh, on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
that the song came out years after that movie's based, and
Oh,
that movie's based in like a year and a half, 2 years before that song was ever out.
was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, no, like, yeah, it was all around bad movie, and then I just like, I feel like the way that movie ended, where she's like blind in the wheelchair with those glasses, was just so creepy.
Yeah, yeah. Like that. That is like an odd, like 100%. Like we want a sequel, but like anybody who saw that movie and then saw the end of it was like, I never want to see this happen again.
God no. Like, oh, do you know what's gonna happen next? I absolutely do.
She's off-putting in general, dude. Dakota Johnson. Yeah, she's.
uh I don't think so. I mean, I feel like a lot of her like interviews are like super charismatic and funny, and she holds her own and does a good job.
She did a bad job of promoting this movie in interviews, and
Well, it
like,
was a bad fucking movie.
yeah, but because of who? The writers, but
Whoever the fuck wrote it.
she's just as much a part of this. Why take on a movie in a superhero genre when you literally don't like superhero shit? Like she is very like much like, I had no idea. Like they asked her what her favorite like Spider-Man shit was, like movie was, and she couldn't name a single one.
and one of
Yeah.
them's literally called Spider-Man.
Yeah, like what are we doing? Like why is she doing this movie? I think she comes off a lot of the times personally, like in interviews and stuff, as entitled and like aloof kind of.
Mm.
Like I think she's a person with famous parents who's gotten a lot of opportunities, and she's mostly made bad movies. Successful, like 50 Shades of Grey, successful, bad
No,
movie.
I don't disagree. I don't think she's made a whole lot of good movies. So.
So I think that she's like a nepotism baby in a lot of ways, and just gets roles based on
Nepo.
like who she is, you know. Um, so not for me. I just not a huge Dakota Johnson fan. I'll still end up watching her movies, I guess, but like they generally, I think they're bad, and I don't think that she's like a very good actor. I watched Tires. I didn't finish it, but I watched like a decent amount of it. Shane Gillis' show on Netflix. I think if
Okay.
you're a fan of his stand-up and you're like a fan of kind of bringing back that more edgy side to comedy, where you kind of can just say whatever you want and anything, and it's just like to try and get laughs out of people, I think you'll enjoy it. It pushes buttons for sure.
I saw a clip of it yesterday, and it definitely went harder than I thought it would, being like a
Yes.
Netflix show.
Yeah, I mean, he funded it himself, so like I think with that you kind of know he was going to stay true to like what his comedy is, and his comedy is generally put like, he's not afraid to say things that are controversial in his comedy, and I think you get that in this just the same. So yeah, I really liked it. I've liked it so far. I think I have like 3 episodes left of it. It's not like laugh out loud like funny, but I think it's clever, and like I think it definitely has its moments. And you get a lot of like a lot of your big name comedians pop up in it. Like Schultz is in it, Stavros is in it. Who else? I mean, his whole like podcast tandem that he does is in the show too. So yeah, you get a decent amount of people you recognize in there that kind of pop in and out. And the whole premise is like it's at like a mechanic shop where the this son has taken over one of his father's like the owner of the whole like entity and has a bunch of shops, and his son is like the fuck up son who's trying to run one. Shane Gillis plays his cousin who's one of the mechanics, and they buy a bunch of tires that are, he says he's getting a good deal on them, but he basically like blows through like all the money on the tires and now is trying to find a way to promote the tire shop or the mechanic shop to get business. And like first it starts with like being like a pro woman mechanic, and trying to get like a puff piece done by a local newspaper, and like they go through like fucking that up, and then they have like 9.99 oil changes, and like how it like only draws in the worst kind of customers, like and it just kind of goes from there. So it's I don't know,
Okay.
it's pretty funny. um the other thing, I don't think I talked to you about this on here, Dante, but I think you've seen this. I watched the movie, or I bought the movie and I watched it, Plane, the Gerard Butler movie. Did I talk about that on
Yes, I
here?
have seen that. No, we haven't talked about it on here.
I liked it, dude.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Those are like that's the Gerard Butler I like.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's such a stupid like are you
It's a
familiar with the
it's
movie
a
at all, Dave?
I I recall, I think, seeing a trailer for it a long time
it's a
ago.
dumb movie, and the only reason you would watch it is because Gerard Butler.
It's like the perfect Gerard Butler. Like he's a pilot and their plane gets struck by lightning and they need to land it, and they land in a like a on a third world country on an island that is controlled by like gorillas. Um and, and
Not like gorillas, but like
Oh, got
militia.
it, got it.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, there's too many ape movies out this day. I guess it's hard to
My
tell.
brain definitely went there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
When you laughed, I was like, no, it shouldn't be that funny.
Well, it's still kind of funny because it's just like, of course, that's the Gerard Butler like thing. So he has to go. Like the one part I'm missing, I guess, is on his flight was a guy who's convicted for murder. Um, who he can't leave with the rest of the people because he doesn't trust them. So he's like, you have to come with me as we try to like call out for help. And it leads to
And they
them like
eventually
having to,
use his murderous skills.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
onto the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't say it wasn't predictable, but
It's fun, dude. It's a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Dante?
I also watched The Strangers.
Oh, which one?
Chapter 1.
Okay, in theater.
Yeah.
Okay. As a person who's never seen the original, what'd you think?
Still didn't care for it.
Okay.
I just think as far as like a horror movie, it kind of lacked any real suspense. Like they try to build it up with like the close-ups and the quote unquote jump scares, but there just wasn't like any. I don't know. It didn't really do anything for me.
Are you gonna watch the original?
Is the original significantly better?
Yes.
Then maybe, yeah.
And people really like Pray at Night, the sequel to that one, like which doesn't have any direct. It's not like a direct sequel, but Pray at Night's pretty cool too.
Hmm.
Pray at Night
Might add it
is
to the
like a
list.
little different in the sense that it's like I haven't seen it in a long time, but like they're traveling and like their car breaks down by like a trailer park, and they come across these people.
Mm.
But the original is very closely entwined. I told you this, like with chapter one. Like they're pretty, chapter one's almost like a beat for beat, but less, not done as well.
Okay. I don't know. It's just like really poor decision making, and again, like just no suspense.
So the only really redeeming thing for me in the chapter one was I liked the girl. I thought she was pretty good. And then like getting a sequel, I think I like being able to see where they go with it next. Where they're not
I guess,
working
yeah, I
off the
am
original.
curious where they go with it, and knowing that they just tried to make this a complete remake, I'd like to see where they go when they try to go original with it.
Well, like that's what I mean. Like I think you should watch the original because then it's kind of like in my head, I'm watching the sequel and I'm just going to treat it as if it's a sequel to the original since like they basically tried to do a beat for beat remake anyways. Um
Yeah.
but like I don't want to rehash my review, but it is like the problem with that the chapter 1 version is like all the stuff they do before like all the strangers stuff starts happening, with like showing you all the people in the town and how shitty they were and stuff like
So
that.
that part didn't bother me as much because I didn't see the original,
Yeah.
and I know you told me why you didn't like that part, but like
It's just it
didn't
defeats the premise
bother
of the
me that
movie.
much.
Like the premise of the movie is it's just supposed to be like random act of violence in the woods.
Yeah,
And it's not so much random in this movie when you're giving me all these people who
because this movie almost leads you to believe that the killers are from the town,
exactly
like one of the
yeah
people they interacted with.
yeah, and that's kind of defeating some of the purpose of the movie. And it makes me think that like as you go through 3 chapters of this movie, you're gonna eventually find out who the killers are.
Yeah,
So.
probably, and it's probably going to be one of the people from the town.
Yeah, I don't remember in chapter 1 because in the original they take off their masks when they're killing them at the end, but you don't see them. Like you don't see their faces still. I don't remember in this if they take their masks off because then that would mean that she saw their faces.
No, they never took their masks off.
Okay.
They heard the sirens and ran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you rank that? Low?
Super low.
Where'd you rank?
I know I gave it 2 stars.
Where'd you rank Back to Black too?
Oh yeah, I didn't talk about that. Back to Black, 1.5 stars, 28th out of 30.
Damn.
Is that in front of Saw the TV Glow?
It's actually behind it.
Okay. Jesus Christ. That's bad.
And I was going back and forth in my head on where I would put it up against that, but I knew it'd be ahead of Out of Darkness and ISS. Just because, again, left those movies like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then Strangers Chapter 1, I put at 2 stars at 25.
Okay. So I had it.
It's right behind Immaculate and Night Swim for reference.
I have it in front of Immaculate, but in front of Night Swim. Well, I have it in front of both. I have it in front of both. Sorry. I'm wrong. I was reading that wrong.
I just remember coming out of like Night Swim, like being like, I mean, like, yeah, it was a bad movie, but it was okay enough. And Immaculate, like, really just the last like 15 to 20 minutes where she goes unhinged kind of is where I put, at least there was some enjoyment in that movie versus like this movie did nothing for me.
I get it. I think I'm more holding it a little higher just because I'm looking forward to where they're going to go with it.
Yeah, I have no outside knowledge of this outside of like that movie. And like, I'm just ranking it specifically on what that movie did for me.
I gotcha. Cool. That's all we got.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who's watched. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know if you've been watching anything, if you're going to be watching anything, what we should be watching. And again, like, comment, share, subscribe. We want to get a mobile sponsorship. Or maybe golf, Sunoco.
You can't just diss Buc-ee's like that,
bro. Dude, Buc-ee's didn't call. I'll still take.
Now you're just a whore for all the gas stations, huh?
I would be.
You know, maybe even like an ice cream truck. You know, give something. You know?
We're trying to be lot lizards, dude.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
Just trying to be at trucker stops across the U.S. Our faces thrown up there.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for us. Everybody, peace out. We love you.
Ski ski.
For those with good taste.